Welcome to Getting Real with Hillary, where we tell inspiring stories that create freedom and the AAA formula for freedom, awareness, acceptance, and action. And I am delighted to be here today with Chelsea Moore, the founder of Dream Again, where she connects with the power of creativity. And she's also a representative for Drawing and Talking. And today, Chelsea's going to tell her story about where she was stuck and how she got free. So welcome, Chelsea.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to share my story.
Great. So where, I know you were telling me a little bit about it, but where would you say you were stuck before you started this amazing company called Dream Again?
So, as you mentioned, I am the United States representative for Drawing and Talking, which is a professional development company based in the UK. And we train a therapeutic intervention for processing the pain and anxiety of trauma. Drawing and Talking is safe, gentle, and effective. In their 20th year in the UK, and they've trained more than 60,000 people, impacting more than 3 million children in their school systems.
Wow. All right. Hold on, Chelsea. Let me just interrupt you because that's my specialty. Say more about who they're actually working with. So they're training the people who are going to work with the children.
That's correct.
Okay. So these are practitioners, so to speak. And then what kind of children, like what kind of pain and trauma, like how do they find these people?
In schools. So it was originally designed for use in schools. So school support staff, maybe they have something called an ELSA, an emotional learning support administrator. And
schools have that?
Schools have that in the UK.
Oh, in the UK. Okay. All right.
And you know, those type of people, you know, maybe as, TAs, teaching assistants, school support staff. And, you know, I got approached to say, we'd like to bring this to the United States. So
no, Chelsea, yeah, I don't mean to keep interrupting, but I just want to understand it. And so I figure maybe other people have the same question. How many children are there that have this? I mean, that have had pain and trauma, or what you're helping? Like, is this rampant? Is this just a few in each school? Like, how many kids are there to have so many practitioners? Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. What it is a tier 1 and tier 2. So it's an intervention before therapy would be needed. And early intervention is so important because to get at the issue before it really becomes an entrenched mental illness. So really, for anybody that is experiencing some anxiety or, you know, a middle level of anxiety, hello, COVID. Are we not an anxious society? And
wow.
while it was written for children, it's so useful with adults, even senior citizens. The oldest person that I've worked with was 76. And the oldest person in the UK is 87.
Okay. So now, we were talking earlier about where you were stuck. Where were you stuck? And did you?
I was stuck in.
Yeah.
I was stuck in how the heck do I bring this to the US?
Okay.
Nobody knows what I'm talking about. I'm going to look like a quack, a crazy person. I started talking to people, and I even got a lot of, you have to be really careful, Chelsea.
So you're the only one bringing this to the US right now?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you were stuck saying, how the hell am I going to do this? Yeah. Okay. So then what'd you do?
A couple of things. So what, I was speaking with the owner, Catherine Beakley, and she recommended that I actually take on becoming a private practitioner, which is where Dream Again comes in. And so I spent a few weeks inside of a program learning really about the sales process. Now, that was another thing that I was really stuck on. Funnels, versions. Oh,
What's a version?
I don't know.
Okay.
And worse, avatars. Like an avatar is the freaking movie.
Right. Exactly.
And so what I did was I thought and spun in the swirling toilet bowl, which is my head.
Okay. And then what you do?
So this is actually a program that Drawing and Talking also offers, and it doesn't have anything to do with the process of drawing and talking, but really how to promote yourself as a private business.
Okay.
And so we talked like it finally made sense to me what an avatar is. So here I am trying to spew all of this random conversation about drawing and talking and how great it is. And people are like, what? How? Even I got interrupted by Hillary, right?
Yeah.
Working on it.
So what happened?
So I started, well, the other thing was I was unwilling to create a vision for myself. Like I had it that I wanted to shift what we considered healthy in the United States. But for me, I'm up against this world of psychology, this really long-based history of study and medication and like, who am I? That's really like, who am I? And the other thing that I did was I attended a training with the most respected people that are treating trauma. Oh, I'm going to mess up some names. There was Basil Vanderkalk that wrote Body Keeps the Score. There was also, I don't remember the names, the gentleman that wrote the polyvagal theory. And there's a woman who's the lead in psychosomatic therapy, as well as a research center in Oregon that's studying PTSD. What I got is that all of the training that I've had in the world of transformation, and in studying how to be a leader, I actually got that I'm really well trained in this. I'm really well versed. I happen to know a thing or two. Now, can you guess?
So is that how you got unstuck?
That is how I got unstuck. People told me, Chelsea, you're amazing. Why are you stuck? It actually got me a bit more stuck, but.
So then what was the moment when it clicked?
So during that training, there were two things. And one thing that I'd like to ask you, can you guess what the single most healthy thing that you can do to combat inflammatory diseases? What's the one? And it increases the enzyme telomerase, which produces the protein telomeres, which are the end caps on your DNA. What's the one single thing that you can do to increase your body's own production of that?
Well, all I can guess is to take antioxidants, which reduce inflammation. I think that's probably wrong, but that's the only thing I can come up with because I never heard half of what you just said. So I can't really tell you, but I bet you have the answer, Chelsea.
I do. I learned it in this training.
Tell us.
It's being present.
Oh my God. Seriously?
I know something about that. And what's the way to heal trauma is having an integrated sense of self, which is something that I also have a lot of training in.
Wow.
You mean I've had it right all along? And everybody around me that was telling me that I had it right, they were right. That was the moment that I fell into a groove in this program as far as learning how to sell and how to, create my own business.
So say it again. It was being present. So being present. And what was the first thing?
An integrated sense of self.
Wow. Who knew? I would have thought it was some kind of drug, right? Okay. Wow. All right. So how do we do that, Chelsea? Now that you have your confidence, you believe in yourself, what now?
Well, now I need to tell the world, or at least the United States.
So now you feel more comfortable talking about it because you got who you are and how trained you are. Wow. That's a miracle.
I really got the difference that I can make and the difference that this can make. You can't stop. You can try to stop, but you can't control the world. Things are going to happen, like things that really.
What do you mean you can't stop?
Well, you can't stop traumas.
Oh. I didn't know what you meant. Okay.
I should actually correct myself and say you can't stop traumatic events.
Right. Because we don't have control over them. Okay. But you have a technique that is non-medicating that can help people through this. All right. So why don't I think you had said that you got to use the technique.
Yes, I have.
So what did you use it for?
So I've had 5 clients, 6 years old, 8 years old, 37 years old, 60 and 76.
But I thought you had a trauma that you used the technique for.
So
are you willing, or was this after you had the 5?
It wasn't.
Okay.
What I discovered when I was using this technique, 37 is an Iraqi war veteran. And I discovered that I had judged my own traumas like they weren't good enough. I mean, here's a man, like, I get moved by this, right? Like, he put himself in danger. He had his best friend die in his arms. He had to shoot a little girl because she had bombs strapped to her. What trauma did I have? Like, really?
Your mother yelled at you when you were little. Come on.
Right? Like, when I compared myself, I had a good life. Both of my parents are still married. My father has dementia, but my parents are still married in the house that I grew up with. I knew my mother loved me. And they sent me to college. They made sure that, that I was given all of those things throughout my life. I had a good life. But what I got in working with him was for me to have compassion for other people's traumas. I had to have compassion for my own. Now, there's a lot of talk about how do we destigmatize mental illness? Stop calling it mental illness. There's nothing wrong with people.
Thank you. Now, that's a great thing. And I did have a friend who killed herself. And, I would love to eradicate suicide, that it's not even a word. Like, that's one of my dreams. But if someone is chemically imbalanced, well, you don't have to call it mental illness. You could just say they're chemically imbalanced and they need some chemicals, right? You don't have to call it mental illness. So, okay. Is that what you're saying?
Well, what I'm saying is, as far as a view of trauma, right? Like, early intervention is the key. Like, way before, while, your friend may have still been making the decisions that led to such an unhappiness that she couldn't bear it anymore. I'm talking about before that, to intervene in whatever path that is.
Right. So, but let's just take it, and I don't know what it was like for her, but what I've learned is that until I actually say things out loud, they seem like they're the truth. So let's say she's going along thinking her thoughts are true. She doesn't have a trauma. She's just whatever she called herself, a bad person or a dumb, I don't even know. I don't know what led her there, but how does someone like that know that it's the early stages? Like how do you know that? Like, I would have loved to have her still on Earth.
Yeah.
She was adorable, funny, fun, and now she's not here. So how do you do that? And I guess that's your challenge, but I would think you would have to self-identify, because if you said, hey, you need to go get some help, I'd be like, see ya. Yeah. So how does it happen? And I'll be quiet for a minute if I can.
Yeah, it's really creating a conversation for emotional support. Like, it's okay that we need emotional support. It's okay that we support our mental well-being.
That's great. I'm writing it down. Need emotional support. And what was it about mental well-being?
Yeah, it's okay that we support that.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Right.
Now, someone, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but today I was talking to someone that I need help. And she goes, I want you to change those words. Is it okay if I say that? She goes, request support instead of ask for help. And I don't know if I agree with this, but she said, asking for help assumes you're helpless, which not really. I mean, to me, their words are interchangeable, but requesting support, well, that's not stigma on that, right? As opposed to you need help. Sound like you got a problem, right?
That's it. Well, that's the beautiful thing about drawing and talking, is that there's no fixing. There's no judging. There's no analyzing.
That's great.
And what makes
it... tell me about the process.
Yes.
So that I keep taking you off on tangents, but so we are working with this veteran who had all this trauma. And then what happens?
So let me tell you about the process. It's 12 sessions for a half an hour once a week, and at the same time, same place and same time. It can be done on Zoom. It can be done, best practices in person, but with children, it was tough with the 6-year-old. But the 8-year-old was mature and could follow.
So what do they do? What do they do?
So get this. They draw a picture and they talk about it.
Do they have to be a good artist?
No. And in fact, don't waste your time making things pretty. This is not art therapy.
Wow.
This is actually
drawing and talking. Duh. Wow.
Right. So,
and it helps and it works. So tell me, so here's the veteran, horrible things. Tell me what happened with him in a nutshell. And I'm going to mute myself because there's banging over here.
Certainly. So, going through the process, so you tell them you can draw whatever you want. And for him, how he processed that was like, what are the things that he wants in life? And so session after session there, often came up items that he started wanting to create. He wanted to express his artistic ability. And so he started drawing. Somebody had said something about metal carvings, and he started designing metal carvings. And so what I wanted to say, I'm going to go back a couple of seconds. Drawing and talking is not art therapy, but it is based in the play therapy continuum. And I say continuum because it's not therapy. It's below that. And so so did he have to draw about the traumas, or is it not that? No. Okay. That's what I'm thinking. He's drawing the little girl. No. Okay. So he just got to tell you about it and then move on. Wow. So you draw the picture, and then my job is to play with it. So you ask certain questions. Let me think. So there was a tree. And so you ask questions about the tree. How does the tree feel? Does anybody visit the tree? Has anybody tried to hurt the tree? And you start to ask questions about, are there berries or things to eat on the tree? Does the tree like when people come and eat the berries? How does that make the tree feel? What if a witch came flying through to the tree? What do you think would happen then? Right. And so it's imagination. It's also like kind of dealing with some internal conflict. At the end, he said, no, the tree is alone. Nobody visits the tree. Nobody lives by the tree. And so he actually really got to process, the pain of being alone and what it's like to feel like, when nobody understands you. That's really where the trauma is. When you can't express, you're alone. You're helpless.
Wow.
You can't move, right? So being able to express it about a picture, he still feels those emotions, but it's really gentle because they're the tree's emotions. They're not yours.
Wow.
But the psyche knows.
Wow, that's so interesting. That must be fascinating to do.
Oh.
And very rewarding, right?
Yes. And, what's so rewarding is that you see, right? Like it's 12 weeks. It's not, it's not a quick fix. Okay, fine. A pill is quick. It's 12 weeks. And oftentimes the healing doesn't happen within the 12 weeks, but the processing continues afterwards. And
so where did you finish the 12 weeks with this guy?
I did.
Okay. And where was he left?
So before, he was refusal to see a therapist. Now he sees a therapist. He's moved. He's got a new job and he's in a relationship.
Wow.
I didn't do any of that. He did.
But you facilitated it. Wow. That's great. Well, Chelsea, thank you so much. This has been great. I know we could go on forever. If people wanted to find you, or let's say they have someone that they think has had a trauma or is in the early stages, or they're not talking, whatever. Like, first of all, who would these people be and how would they find you?
They could be really anybody that's experiencing some anxiety or, maybe a little lonely feeling or always on the lookout, right? Like there's those people you'll see and they're always looking. They could use some calming down. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I know anxious people, plenty of them. And then how do they find you?
Okay. I'm still in that program and I haven't made my website yet.
All right. Well, they can email you. You have an email.
Email me.
What's your email?
chelseatmoore at drawingandtalking.com.
Okay, that's easy. So Chelsea is ChelseaMoore at what?
drawingandtalking.com.
And it's all spelled out. Drawing AND talking?
That's correct.
Okay. Just otherwise they won't find you. All right. So it's Chelsea Moore at drawingandtalking.com. And then you would reach back out to them.
Yes.
And
we'll have a consultation. We'll talk about, is this right for you? Talk about what it is that they would like to get out of it. And then also to, let them know, like, this isn't therapy. Now, it can be complementary to therapy, but this is different.
All right, great. Well, thank you, Chelsea. This has been really fun. It's fascinating to me. Anything you'd like to say in closing?
Trauma. So Basil van der Kolk says that imagination is everything. And so when you can imagine that something else is possible for you, that's where the healing happens. And healing happens in the presence of another.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you. Yeah. What else?
Go ahead. I'd also like to say, if there's somebody that actually wants to learn how to do this process with somebody, how to become a practitioner and how to be that person for others, that website is drawingandtalking.com. And you will want to make sure that if you do decide to sign up for training, to make sure that you pick a course that's appropriate for your time zone.
Okay. And can you help them with that if they want? Like, do you get credit if they go through you? I'm all about credit. Do they need to mention your name in order?
It looks good. It looks good.
Okay.
You can email me at chelseatmoore@drawingandtalking.com.
There you go. Come on, take the credit. All right, great. Well, thank you so much, Chelsea. This is, again, Getting Real with Hillary, the show, and another inspiring story that creates freedom. So thank you so much, Chelsea.
Thank you.